Our next topic, we have we have Florida government looking to pass a bill that will ban schools from talking about LGBTQ issues. Now, my whole thing is that they already trying to get rid of critical race theory. Like, who you think the next victim's gonna be?
But, yeah, no, you're not wrong. But things like, yo, just keep it to sex ed. Throw it back into sex ed. But sex ed should be a course back in the world again.
That makes sense.
If these questions need
this whole thing has to do with sexuality, so yeah,
ask the questions.
That could be part of it. Talk about LGBTQ
and let the teacher be a therapist
issues in sex ed.
Let the teacher be a psychologist or a therapist at that, so that like the questions that are being asked, they know how to properly answer them. Not just be I'm a teacher that got a book.
Yeah,
I'm teaching sex ed. No, dog. You don't have some conflicting kid questions coming to you. You need some proper therapy answers to give back to them. You don't want to just mess them up. Yeah. But
the whole argument about this is that some people are on the fence of like, this is like us going backwards. This is like there's so much progress that that community has made to the point where it's like if this bill passed in Florida, like now it's like it's kind of like a giant don't ask don't tell. If you really think about it.
Well, it should, because it's not where you should be questioning these things. Like, to be fair, these type of questions breed other discussions that are too adult for certain kids these days.
As far as what?
Different sexuality questions. I'm just saying I'm not saying it's gateway questions. Once you ask one, you have to explain that to explain this to explain that. You then haven't told almost half a Pornhub about like once you're done. You know what I mean? And you're just trying to explain one aspect, but it's like it's not really the teacher's job to go that far in depth. That's what I'm saying. You should have like a therapist or something when these questions are asked.
Or you should at least have a class like that.
Right. But but makes
just trying to say you're gonna ban like talking about it in general. Like, there's no like, how are you gonna first of all, how are you gonna monitor that?
It's just not. Like, it's not like curriculum.
How are you going to monitor if anyone's talking about it?
That's the debate. What's the curriculum? What's this curriculum goal for? If you're going to educate the children, I'm not saying this education isn't needed. It's just not. It's needed in high school, but if this is in grammar, like grade school, it's not needed yet. You know what I mean? You want to, if you want to educate the kids, hit them with the basics first, so that when they go into high school, I got the basics.
Okay, since you say that this should be like a sex ed thing, what was your first sex ed class?
Mine was in grade school.
Like what grade?
Like, so like 5th, 6th.
Yeah, my first one was in 5th grade too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like. So a lot. I've had a class with a social worker, and he was saying he's seen kids 9 years old pregnant.
Yeah.
So they're saying like, you should probably teach kids, this stuff, at a younger age. So it's like, if you're gonna teach them about sex at a younger age, why not teach them about different sexualities?
Because
and then plus they say that, the more that sexuality and stuff like that are discussed in schools, the less likely a kid's gonna commit suicide.
Yeah, but the issue here for that 9-year-old isn't the fact that the 9-year-old was interested in sex. It was the fact that the 9-year-old was preyed upon. You know what I'm saying? To teach a kid about something that they're about to be preyed upon is kind of cruel. Like, I guess in my opinion, the fear, for example, the fear we have for cops was instilled at what age for you?
I would say probably like middle school age.
Right? Like my around 5th, 6th grade, around then. Mm-hmm. Now, with that, has it gotten better since then?
I mean, as you see on the news, no.
No. Your personal view on it. You know what I mean? Like, so like in that same regard, you can't do the same for
I'm not
the
saying
whole school.
instilling fear, but I'm saying like at least I think like teach them about it so they're not, so if they do see someone who happens to be a part of the LGBTQ community, they're not, they're less likely to bully that person because like, oh well, you're just this, or you're just gay, or you're just lesbian. Whatever.
I mean, yeah, but
or it is like, because I mean,
but should you be teaching them about the sexuality, or just teaching them the fact that you shouldn't be judging others? You hear what I'm saying?
I mean,
like,
that too.
Like it's where do you want to draw the line of like how much you want to teach them? I'm not saying not to teach these things, but like at a certain age, allow it. Like I guess what I'm saying is you wouldn't allow like a 7-year-old to start watching some like hardcore anime, like not anime, but yeah, hardcore anime, like fighting guns, like rapes be happening. Like if you ever watched like Berserker or whatever, it is wild, and it's just a middle-aged anime with like demons and sorcery. But that shit gets out of hand. But you give that to a kid to watch, it's too much, too early for them to enjoy a cartoon this violent. You know what I mean? I'm not, even though the cartoon is not, I'm just saying like there's violence in it. It's not violent at times. You can explain stuff. It's just too much for them at that time. But then if you just want to be like, hey, this is what cartoons are. This is the base thing. Just don't do this. You know what I mean? Just the basics now, and then build on it later.
I mean, I also feel that like if a kid has questions, you should be able to answer.
Right.
So at no matter what grade level or whatever, if a kid comes to you and has a question about these issues, you shouldn't be banned from answering or discussing it.
No, that's 100%. I'll agree with you. But the issue is it shouldn't be a curriculum. If a kid has a question, answer after class. Timmy, I got you. All right, say less, fam. I'll wait after class. You answer my question. We Gucci. Mm-hmm. But to make that question now the entire classroom's curriculum, it goes against certain people's views and stuff. The only reason I'm saying this is because I went to Catholic school and there was like a Jewish person that went to my school too. But because my school was the best in the neighborhood, he had to go to that school. But now the views that we're all learning are conflicting with his. So like the teacher would then, like when he had the question, the teacher would be like, "Hey, like after class, I got you," because like you can't ruin the rest of the class's curriculum just because one of the other kids has an outward advanced question. But you can't not.
I'm saying if you make it a part of the sex ed curriculum, then
that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Make it a part of, but only there. It shouldn't. These discussions shouldn't be done by like social studies teachers, history teachers, English teachers. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be doing games like that. But if the kids go into sex ed, run it all there. Go wild. That's where that's where your information's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But it can't be a sex ed teacher that's just reading a book. You got to be like an actual like therapist, someone who can actually relate to the questions that are either coming into play. Because and then the other teachers, it should be policed by the other teachers that like when they're asked this question to be like, directed to Miss such and such or Mr. such and such, or whatever pronoun they'll use. But you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To address them, I can't answer that. Or
at least have a staff member that is designated to do this.
Go to a guidance counselor.
Instead of trying to ban it, just have a staff member who's designated to handle these type of situations.
It can't be taken upon like the teachers to be the one to to teach all of the students when parents don't even have the choice. It's not fair. It doesn't even make sense. You don't pay them enough. Yet you want them to. They
My
want
whole
that.
thing
This much
is that
control.
with all these bills and like when they discuss these bills, like whether it's the critical race theory or the LGBT one, or which they call "Don't Say Gay" bill, like they always want to go back to the parents. Like these parents barely be at PTA meetings. Why are you keep trying to put them into as a concerning factor when they not that concerned with their own kids to go to a PTA meeting, to talk to to go to a parent teacher conference? Like, fuck these parents.
I know what you're talking about. This is the exact opposite from at least when I went to school, and then like now I've seen a lot of parents are furious. Like it's almost like at least now
they only get furious when you show them a permission slip about it. But other than that, like I mean, they've had like what other PTA meetings you could have came to, like.
Nah, my parents. Well, at least if we're talking about personal experience, like when it came to my school, my parents were they're paying. It wasn't free. So,
I mean, if it's paid,
it was a paid school.
Maybe, yeah, but it's like for public.
So was like, that's my motherfucking money.
I came through public school, so that's different.
So yeah.
Oh. Damn.
All right.
And with that being said, this is just a reminder that we could technically like go on with this topic forever, but we gonna have to move on. So, yeah, we gonna have more discussions about this because it's definitely a heavy topic. But all right, but for now.